with some important exceptions like severe alcoholism and severe like heroin addiction and stuff. Drug and alcohol experts do not recommend at all that anybody attempts to go from like severe addiction to controlled usage. It's complete abstinence or nothing, generally speaking. And this is because, and I can attest to this in the month of relative success I've had doing this, that you just go through with the withdrawals every week. It's exhausting. You know, if you use it once a week, you go through the withdrawals once a week. It's pretty full on. The only reason it's like accepted in certain cases is with severe alcohol and heroin addiction. I mean, alcoholics can just die if they stop cold. And the severity of the pain of quitting something like heroin is appallingly high. So in these cases, there are programs for gradual reduction. But what I'm doing with marijuana is extraordinarily ambitious, and I don't think I'm being reckless because I'm weighing up a lot of factors, and this seems like the lesser evil to me. And to some extent, it's happening anyway. Like I feel more and more like I'm not really doing anything exactly so much as like just listening to the pain. If that makes sense. But the key to controlled withdrawal for me is transforming my approach to intoxication. I've been seeing a Japanese healer for a while now. I don't see her that often because she's so real, it's actually terrifying. I really mean it, like in a positive way. I mean, I'm in awe of this woman. She's the most honorable person I've ever met. The most Christ-like person I've ever met. Like, she was my best friend's girlfriend. And he was scared. Like, he wants a baby, and she was offering him one. It's a classic thing of someone gives you what you ask for. And he walked the other way. Because he was too intimidated by her mission and her kind of madness, you know, like it was like, it's a funny thing, you know. People say they want love, but they really want loyalty. Because this woman is full of love. And I'm on a bit of a tangent here, but I've never met someone in real life who just radiates love, who when she listens to someone, listens with her whole being as if she's listening to her child, her lover, her dying parent. Like, I'm just for real. And she uses words with such simplicity and elegance and power. She really, my sessions with her have transformed my understanding of agency and attention and above all, how to respect the medicine, as she puts it, with marijuana. Because she has a number of ritual ceremonies she uses, primarily the rapé, South American rapé ceremony. But she uses marijuana to enhance the sort of shamanic process. And for all my decadence in my use of marijuana, the one reason I think I'm even still here talking about it cogently is that my motivating spark to getting high was like self-exploration. Like, I didn't understand who I was, how many spirits were inside me. It's like I wondered who I'd be if I was high. Like, it was a genuine existential search. I think it's quite common, particularly for people who don't grow up with a deeply spiritual or religious background, you know. And it's a dangerous shortcut here. I don't want to like just build this stuff up. This shit is dangerous, right? It's like, You really need to treat drugs like dangerous animals, because they're amazing tools, but they're fucking deadly. And you take them for granted, they'll turn on you. But she really helped me understand in an embodied way, in a kind of thought through, articulated way, what I'd already begun to understand through psychology, which is whenever you get a dopamine reward, whatever kind of motivation circuit led to the thing that gave you the pleasure will be reinforced. So although I was getting high in the early days out of existential curiosity, it doesn't take long for it to become a numbing habit, you know? And when you're getting high before you've, you know, had a girlfriend, had a job, kind of know who you really are, right? And you're doing it more and more just for pleasure, right? Or even to avoid responsibility, God help you. You know, I'm scared of the world, fuck, I'm just gonna get high. Right? This is absolutely catastrophic way to use marijuana or any drug, because you're literally feeding the monster you're afraid of and making it bigger and bigger and bigger while you're doing a thing instead of developing yourself. Because it is true that regular intoxication will freeze certain aspects of your emotional development. Like, this is just facts. So, like, why the hell am I trying to control it? Well, it's partly because I am in this shamanic relationship with it, where the less I smoke it, the more, and I'm actually not smoking it anymore. I'm taking it orally, and I'll talk about why this is actually really helpful to me. I'm just so used to saying smoke. But when I don't have it for very long, even like only a week even, and I get high, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's the insight cascade that I have it's not imaginary. Like, a lot of it stays with me when I'm sober. But I don't have a plan about where this is going to go. Like, ideally, I think it would be better to be completely sober and not need this stuff. And over the coming weeks and months, as I go back and forth with this, I'm going to come to learn what I can do, what, you know, how much good I'm getting from it, how much it's costing me. You know, it's, you know, whether it's more insight that's leading me to try to control it, or more self-deceit. But the key to doing this successfully, and this is maybe good advice for anybody who isn't addicted yet, but is like using drugs, is just be careful how you use them. Be careful how you use them. Like, if you're just using them to party, if you're just using them to avoid your feelings, you will make such a hell for yourself if you do this for a long time. Like, it really almost is like literally feeding a demon and inviting it into your life and giving it free reign over your mind. That sounds dramatic, but it really is. But if you can tell a different story, and it's really analogous to saying grace before a meal, which is not a bad thing to do either. Like, it's to cultivate gratitude is really one of the basics of mental health. And it's a mind fuck, because life is a mind fuck, and life is brutal, and it's worse than good. So to be grateful for it is quite a challenge in itself. I don't want to make a light of any of this, but it's the only way, I would say, to long life and wisdom. I mean, you don't have to choose this. You can have a long life and pleasure without wisdom if you have enough power. And I'm on a weird tangent here because I'm just stressed as fuck about all this stuff. And I'm not. Like, my mind's a mess from smoking. So it's like, I mean, there's a through point here, but forgive me for being all over the place. But you need to tell a new story when you get high. And for me, it's very much about a kind of a mystical hippie, like new age kind of appreciation of my body as a temple, the divine spark that is in me, my great power, even today as a human being, to do good or evil, particularly having a son. Like, it's like, you know, I'm a magic machine. My attention grows whatever it focuses on. So these are the kind of ideas I try to hold in my mind when I get high. I try to slow down. As I say, I don't really smoke anymore, but when I smoked, I would pay more attention to it. I would hold the joint or the pipe with more care, like it's a diamond, precious thing. You know, and I would kind of say prayers in my mind and apologies. And in relation to eating it rather than smoking it, first of all, it's a different high. It's more a body high than a physical high. It feels like it comes from below rather than from above. I mean, it does cross the blood-brain barrier differently, so it feels different. But it's much more ritually complicated because I've got to prepare it. I've got to cook it. It's quite a lot of work, but it's not so convenient or easy to take, right? Like when you're smoking, you can just have as much or as little as you want and you get an instant feedback and you know exactly what's going on. With an oral dose, you really have to decide on what you're having, have it, and it's a fixed journey. You can't really keep adding on to it. In fact, you can't even do it twice, 2 days in a row. Like it has a diminishing return that's much sharper than smoking. So for all these reasons, one of the simplest rituals I've used to change my attachment to it is I've switched to eating it rather than smoking it. And this makes it less instrumental, right? Because the smoking and the breath and the precision of this, and this is quite different to the quality of the high, which is also different, which is I feel like more intelligent when you eat it. Like it's just less cerebral. But on top of that, it's just a simple matter of like, it's just not so instrumental. It's just not something I can move around on a string and have as much as I want whenever I want it. It's not all about me. And when I do it, I constantly get, I've been such an addict. Like when I start to sober up, it's like, I'm like, oh, where's another smoke? It's like, oh, I don't have a pipe anymore. It's like, it's like, and I've had asthma that's returning. I used to have asthma as a kid and it's been returning as I get older. And this has been helpful to me. This has helped me stop smoking. And in many ways, I'm not choosing to do anything. I'm just listening to my own pain and just bowing to the new environment. This is why they say pain is the gift nobody wants. And I'll keep track of this. This is embarrassing. It's humiliating, but I need to keep a record of this. And I expect these videos will get more coherent as I get more sober. And I'll come to a decision about whether I can do this, because I wouldn't be surprised if I have to just quit and maybe even lose my job to actually get to a new place. I'm not saying this will happen. I really hope neither of those things happen, but I could just be a greedy motherfucker who just wants to be high and just wants too much pleasure. And I maybe don't need this shamanic stuff. I maybe have learned enough from it, right? Like it's done its shamanic job, and all my shamanic talk might be me just rationalizing, how to jerk myself off, basically, which is what getting high kind of is.